Saturday evening. Warm air, kids running around, grill smoke drifting through the neighborhood. Nothing about that night looked dangerous. But that's how the worst moments show up, dressed like ordinary days. My wife, Emily, insisted we go. Said it would be fun, even though she hates crowds and hates our neighbors even more. I should have known something was off the moment she grabbed her 7th drink, before the food was even ready. But the danger didn't come from her drinking. It came from the person watching us through the window. Emily was loud. Too loud. She always performed when she drank, sarcastic jokes, fake laughs. Those comments she claims are harmless. But this one wasn't harmless. Someone asked how our marriage was going. Emily raised her glass and said, "Oh, it's great. I basically married a houseplant. Doesn't do anything, but at least it's quiet." Everyone laughed. Except me, and except the woman walking up behind her. Carol, our neighbor. The one known for showing up where she didn't belong. She whispered just loud enough, "If he's that useless, maybe you shouldn't have married him." Emily snapped around. "You don't get to comment on my husband." And Carol smiled, slow, deliberate. "Funny, considering you just auctioned him off." A few people gasped. Emily froze. That was the moment the entire backyard shifted. Because what she didn't know was this. Carol wasn't just reacting, she was provoking. I stepped forward, trying to break the tension, but Carol leaned in closer to Emily. Her voice was soft, but sharp enough to cut skin. "If you're so unhappy with him, why are you pretending everything's normal?" Emily's smile collapsed. She grabbed Carol's wrist. "Don't start." Carol pulled her arm back and replied, "He deserves to know." Everything stopped. People turned. Even the grill smoke seemed to pause mid-air. I felt the back of my neck go cold. Know what? What was she talking about? Emily's eyes were panicked, trapped. That was the tell. The moment I realized Carol knew something she wasn't supposed to know. The rest of the BBQ blurred into forced conversations and awkward silence. But Carol didn't stop staring. At Emily, at me. Studying us like she knew a secret big enough to break us. When the sun went down, she walked straight toward me. Emily grabbed my arm, ready to pull me away. But Carol spoke first. "You should ask her about Thursday nights." Emily's grip tightened. My heartbeat felt like thunder. "Carol, stop," Emily hissed. But Carol didn't. She looked right at me, calm, certain, and said, "You're not the problem in your marriage. You're the distraction." My stomach dropped. Emily physically dragged me away before Carol could say more. But the damage was done. She had planted something too poisonous to ignore. On our walk home, Emily wouldn't look at me. "Don't listen to her," she snapped. "What happens on Thursday nights?" I asked. She didn't answer. She just walked faster. When we got inside, she headed straight to the bedroom and slammed the door. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. It was a picture. At first, I didn't understand what I was seeing. Then I did. And my entire world tilted sideways. The photo was taken on a Thursday night. Emily, in her car. Not alone. But the real problem wasn't the person she was with. The real problem was where they were parked. At Carol's house. And beneath the picture was a message. "You deserve to know the truth." This was only the beginning. I didn't know who sent it. I didn't know what it meant. But one thing was clear. Carol wasn't just a neighbor. She was the opening act of a much bigger storm. I stared at the picture until the edges blurred. Emily, sitting in her car, engine off, lights off, another silhouette sitting beside her, parked in front of Carol's house. My stomach clenched. My hands shook. But what bothered me wasn't the person in the passenger seat. It was the timestamp, 11:23 p.m., Thursday. The exact night she always told me she worked late. I walked to the bedroom door and knocked. "Emily, who were you with last night?" Silence. Then a muffled, irritated voice. "Don't start. I told you work ran late." I held up my phone to the door. "I have a picture." A beat of silence. Then, the click of the bedroom lock. She wasn't coming out, and she wasn't explaining anything, but someone was willing to show me more. The next morning, I made a decision that felt both stupid and inevitable. I walked next door and knocked on Carol's door. She opened it instantly, as if she had been waiting. No smile, no greeting, just a slow, knowing look. "You got the picture," she said. My throat tightened. "You sent it?" She didn't confirm, didn't deny. Instead, she stepped aside. "You should come in." Everything in me screamed that this was a bad idea. But curiosity is its own kind of intoxication. Inside, her house smelled faintly of perfume and something metallic, sharp cold. She pointed to the living room couch. "She sits there. He stands over there." Always the same routine. My head snapped up. "She? He?" Carol crossed her arms. "Your wife. And the man she's been meeting every Thursday." I felt the floor tilt. I needed details, proof, anything. "Who is he?" I asked. Carol didn't answer immediately. She walked to her drawer, pulled out a thin envelope, and handed it to me. "Take a look." Inside were 6 photos, each more revealing than the last. Different nights, different angles. All of them showing Emily meeting with the same man, but always from behind. A broad frame, short dark hair. A tattoo on the forearm I couldn't make out clearly. Never a single shot of his face. Almost like someone didn't want me to see it. My voice cracked. "Why are you doing this?" Carol's eyes softened just slightly. "Because your wife isn't who you think she is. And this is only the surface." My heartbeat thudded painfully in my chest. "What's beneath the surface?" Carol inhaled slowly. "You need to ask her about the envelope." "The one she hides in her closet." I froze. "What envelope?" She looked at me like I was a child about to discover fire burns. "The one she kept even after the others were destroyed." I went back home. Emily was in the shower, steam filling the bathroom, water drowning the world. I walked to her closet. It didn't take long to find it, behind a stack of winter sweaters, under a box of old photos, a thin, black envelope. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside were a key, a folded contract, a note in handwriting I didn't recognize. The contract was confusing at first. Legal language mixed with payment terms. But one line burned into my mind. "Final installment due upon completion of transfer." Transfer of what? Or who? Then I unfolded the note. 8 words. 8 words that made my blood run cold. "He can't find out. Not until it's done." My chest tightened. My vision blurred. Done? Done with what? Done with who? Emily didn't just have secrets. She had plans. When Emily stepped out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel, she saw the envelope on the bed. Her face went dead white. "Where did you get that?" "You hid it," I said. "You hid all of it." She stepped forward, trembling. "You don't understand." I held up the contract. "The transfer? What is it? Money? Property? Him? What are you doing?" She shook her head violently. "You weren't supposed to see this." "And Thursday nights?" I snapped. "Who is he?" She closed her eyes, took a shaky breath, then whispered the truth. "Someone who shouldn't even be alive." My heart stopped. "What does that mean?" Before she could answer, my phone buzzed. A new picture. New angle. The mystery man. This time, I could see part of his face. A strong jawline. A familiar scar. Familiar. Too familiar. And the text below the photo said, "He's not a stranger." I stared at the photo like my brain couldn't process what my eyes were seeing. That scar. A thin diagonal line cutting across the man's left jaw. My breath caught, because I had seen it before. Every day, for years, on my brother, I felt my knees weaken. No, that's impossible," I whispered. Emily's face twisted in panic. "You need to calm down." "Calm down?" I snapped. "That's my brother in the picture." Emily shook her head rapidly. "You're wrong. That's not." But I had already fallen backward into a memory I tried so hard to bury, a phone call. A hospital. A body bag I never unzipped because the doctors insisted there was nothing I should see. He died in that accident, I whispered. Blake died 8 years ago. Emily sank onto the bed, burying her face in her hands. I told you. Someone who shouldn't be alive. I couldn't breathe. You told me he died, I said. Everyone told me he died. Emily nodded slowly. He was supposed to. The floor swayed beneath me. What do you mean, supposed to? She lifted her head. Eyes red, voice trembling. The accident wasn't random. Blake was involved in something before he met you that put him on a lot of people as radars. Dangerous people. I stumbled back. You knew him? She swallowed hard. Yes, long before I ever met you. A cold wave ran through me. This was not betrayal. This was a map of lies I had been living in without knowing. Why didn't you tell me? Because they were watching, she whispered. And because Blake made me promise. Promise what? Her voice cracked. To protect you if anything ever happened to him. The room tilted. You were meeting my dead brother every Thursday? Emily flinched. It's not like that. He didn't want you involved. He didn't want you anywhere near his past. I felt anger flare in my chest. Not at her, at him. So he faked his death? For 8 years? And what, you two just reunited behind my back? Her eyes filled with guilt. Blake only reached out months ago. He said something was coming. Something worse than what he escaped from. I shook my head. This makes no sense. Emily stepped closer. He's been collecting proof, documents, recordings. Everything needed to take down the people who wanted him dead. But he couldn't keep it himself, and he didn't trust anyone else. Her voice softened to a whisper. So he trusted me. My pulse hammered in my skull. The contract, the transfer, it's about him, isn't it? Emily nodded. Blake has been gathering evidence for years, enough to destroy them. But there's a catch. What catch? He can't turn it in. If he does, they'll know he's alive. The transfer is about passing everything to someone who can finish it for him. I stared at her. Someone, meaning me? She looked away. He thought you were the only person he could count on. The only one who wouldn't run. My throat tightened painfully. 8 years. 8 years of grieving. 8 years of thinking I failed him, and all that time. He was alive, hiding, watching, planning, and you were just helping him, I whispered. Emily hesitated. There's more. I felt the air leave my lungs. What else? I demanded. Emily closed her eyes. When Blake disappeared, I wasn't supposed to meet you. I wasn't supposed to fall in love with you. My chest tightened. What does that mean? She drew a shaky breath. I met you because of him, at first. Blake wanted me to watch you, to keep you safe. That's why I got close. I froze. My brain shut down for a second. You're saying our relationship started because you were assigned to me? Emily winced. At first, yes, but it changed. I swear it changed. I fell in love with you long before you loved me. I pressed a hand to my forehead. So our marriage, our life, all of it started with a lie. She took a step forward. But it didn't stay that way. I stepped back. I don't even know who you are. A tear ran down her cheek. You know exactly who I am. Blake trusted me. So you could survive. My phone buzzed again. Another picture. This time, not from Carol. From an unknown number. A full face shot. No shadows, no angles. No hiding. Blake. Alive, staring into the camera. And the message underneath said, "We need to talk. Before they get to you first." My hands shook as I stared at the message. Blake. Alive. No doubt. The same eyes. The same scar. The same expression he used to make when he was about to do something reckless. Emily saw the screen and staggered back. He contacted you? I didn't answer. I couldn't, because while my mind was spiraling, a second message appeared. Don't tell her you saw this. A chill ran through me. Why wouldn't he want her to know? Before I could react, a third message came in. Meet me where it happened. Where it happened. The accident, the place I had avoided for 8 years. The old service road hadn't changed. Same cracked asphalt. Same broken guardrail. Same bend where his car supposedly lost control. I stepped out of my car, heart pounding. At first, I thought no one was there. Then a man stepped out from the trees. Older, thinner, weathered, but it was him. "Blake," I whispered. He gave a sad smile. "Hey, little brother," I froze. Tears hit before I could stop them. "I buried you," I said. "I know. You let me think you were dead." "I had to." "No," I choked. "You didn't." He looked away. "I couldn't drag you into the mess I created. You had a real life, a safe one." I shook my head. "You think any of it was safe? You think being lied to protect someone?" Blake opened his mouth to respond, but then he stopped. Footsteps. From behind me. "Emily, you shouldn't have come alone," she said quietly. Blake's jaw tightened. "You followed him?" Emily nodded. "You think I'd let him meet you here without backup? These woods aren't empty." Blake glared at her. "I told you to stay away. This isn't your fight." "That's exactly the problem," she fired back. "You think everything is only your fight?" I stared between them. "You two. You've been working together this whole time. Against who?" They shared a look, the kind that told me neither wanted to be the one to say it. Emily swallowed. "Your neighbor, Carol." My blood ran cold. "What?" Blake stepped closer. "She's not who you think she is. She's tied to the people who tried to kill me. The ones I ran from." Emily added softly. "She doesn't want the evidence. She wants you, as leverage." I shook my head in disbelief. "Carol? The woman who gossips about yard decorations and HOA meetings?" Emily's voice dropped. "That's just the mask." Before I could respond, a series of sharp clicks echoed through the trees. Not branches, not footsteps. Metal. Blake froze. "She's here." His voice dropped to a whisper. "Stay behind me." But it was too late. A flashlight beam cut through the darkness, and Carol stepped out. Calm, composed, smiling. Except it wasn't the friendly neighborhood smile. It was something cold. "You made this very difficult," she said. "To think. All this time you lived across the street." Emily positioned herself between Carol and me. "You don't have to do this," Emily warned. Carol tilted her head. "You're right. I don't." Then she lifted her phone. I already did. My screen buzzed. A link, a file upload. A message. "If he doesn't come with me, this goes public." Blake swore under his breath. "She got to the evidence." Carol gave a soft laugh. "Oh, sweetheart. I've had the evidence longer than you think." My stomach dropped. "Then why all the games?" I asked. Her eyes met mine. "Because you were the only piece Blake cared about. The only way to control him." Everything clicked. The messages. The picture. The threats. I wasn't bait by accident. I was bait by design. Carol stepped closer. "You're coming with me. Quietly, or your dear brother's past becomes the top headline tomorrow." I felt Emily's hand grip my arm. Blake clenched his fists. And in that moment, I realized something. Carol wasn't looking at Blake. She wasn't looking at Emily. Her eyes were locked on me. She thought I was the weak link. She thought fear would control me. But she forgot something. 8 years ago, I lost everything. Tonight, I had nothing left to lose. I stepped forward, and Carol's smile faltered. "You want me?" I said quietly. "Then take me." She blinked, thrown off. "But understand something first." I held up my phone. "I already downloaded the file from your link." Her smile disappeared. "And I didn't download it to stop you." I took another step. "I downloaded it so I could expose all of you." Emily's eyes widened. Blake whispered, "No, don't." But it was too late. I hit upload. Public. Worldwide. Instant. Carol lunged. Blake grabbed her. Emily pulled me backward. and everything exploded into chaos. By the time the authorities arrived, Carol was gone, vanished into the trees like smoke. Emily and Blake argued with investigators for hours, but I just sat on the back of an ambulance, staring at the stars. Everything hurt, but everything was finally true. Blake sat beside me, bruised and exhausted. "You didn't have to upload it," he said quietly. "I did. It puts you in danger," I shrugged. "I've been in danger for 8 years. I just didn't know it." He gave a tired laugh. "That's my brother." Emily approached slowly. "We'll deal with whatever comes next," she promised. Together, I looked at both of them. My wife who loved me through lies, my brother who stayed alive through shadows. And I realized something strange. I wasn't safer before tonight. I was blind. But now I finally understood the truth. My life wasn't ruined. It was just beginning.